Hello, Upper Fandom. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you brought your sunglasses collection because we're diving into the world of mood makers. We touched on psychological types in our second episode and explained how they powerfully influence people's minds by linking their hearts to idols who falsely match their psychological preferences. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, I'd recommend going back to it so you can follow along better. The last week, we also explored how Scandal Magnet captivates us with its mix of chaos and darkness. But in a tight-knit world like a K-pop group, we can't let the darkness take over. For every shadow that appears, there needs to be a light strong enough to balance it out. So who steps in to tidy up the chaos? Who is the one that beams the brightest when the group seems ready to fall apart? And most importantly, what's behind that constant smile that sometimes feels a bit too much? Today, we're going to dive into the story of the smiling victim, the one we call Sunshine. You'll discover that at times the fake light can be much harder to handle than the shadow. Now let's break down this profile, Upper Fandom. Before we dive into the topic of idols, let's start with a simple question. Why do some people have a way of calming us down instantly, even when we can't quite put our finger on it? We all know a Sunshine. Here, we're not talking about an idol. We're talking about a person. This is the one who walks in with a smile just when things start to feel a bit heavy. The one who cracks a joke when everyone else is at a loss for words. The one who eases the tension so that everyone can take a deep breath. In fact, you've probably met them before. At school, at work, or hanging out with friends. And sometimes, without even realizing it, you might have been that person too. The Sunshine is the one we turn to when the mood starts to dip. The one we say, "Thanks, you're here." The one who turns awkwardness into laughter, embarrassment into action, and silence into warmth. That's why everyone loves the Sunshine. Yes, everyone loves the Sunshine. They're comforting and make everything feel simpler. Most importantly, when they're around, it feels a little less scary. But what K-pop captures here isn't just a personality trait. It's a link, a connection. Unlike the baby seducer who taps into the mother-child bond, the Sunshine isn't a boyfriend, a parent, or an equal friend. They create a special emotional sibling relationship. In other words, they're like the brother or sister who picks up on tension before anyone else, adjusts their behavior to help everyone feel better, and keeps the emotional balance steady without expecting anything in return. Fans don't feel responsible for them. Instead, they lean on them. In terms of attachment, they become the one who helps regulate the group's feelings. When anxiety creeps in, they help ease it. When tension rises, they help redirect it. When the group feels shaky, they help stabilize it. That's why no one really asks how they're doing. In everyone's mind, the Sunshine isn't supposed to feel sad. Over time, their smile turns into a role they play. Their cheerful demeanor becomes an unspoken agreement. And without even realizing it, they learn a key lesson. If they stop shining, everything fell off. So they keep going, even when they're tired, even when they're worn out, and even when it starts to take a toll. In idol groups, this dynamic isn't just present. It's heightened, scripted, industrialized, and then turned into a business. Yet the underlying logic is the same as in real life. The Sunshine isn't there to be happy. They're there to keep the emotional atmosphere just right. So if you're tuning into this episode, it's not just to admire another smile. It's to understand what that smile carries, how much it costs, and why some bright roles can actually be among the heaviest to bear. Welcome to Idol Deck's Upper Fandom. Today we're chatting about the mood maker, the person who wants to brighten up the room, making sure others don't have to deal with any darkness. Upper Fandom enjoys thinking that Sunshine is just naturally like that. That's a rookie mistake. This role is carefully crafted, used, and fine-tuned in ways that 99% of the audience doesn't even realize. Let's take a peek into the engine room. If the Scandal Magnet is like a tempting poison, then the Sunshine is like the sweet antidote that makes everything feel better. In simpler terms, where one brings in the drama, the other helps to ease it away. Its main job is to keep things balanced, always bringing everything back to a calm state. Specifically, it works to smooth out any tensions as soon as they pop up. So when things get a bit uncomfortable, often after a provocation, an awkward silence, or some weird behavior from the Scandal Magnet, the Sunshine jumps in right away. It might laugh, crack a joke, or reach out for a friendly touch, not just because it feels like it, but to comfort everyone and make the mood feel stable again. When we look at the Sunshine's big 5 personality traits, we see a really unique mix. The Sunshine isn't spontaneous here, it's a role, a character. And just like any perfectly played role, this one can be a bit tricky. First off, they score high agreeableness, which means they really struggle with conflict. In social situations, they take on the role of peacemaker. They seem kind, harmless, and easy to like at first glance. But behind the scenes, they're all about pleasing others, using kindness like a safety net. Their simple thought process goes like this: if I make others happy, I'll be okay. In this way, smiling becomes more of a shield than a choice. Next, their extroversion is mostly social. They don't get their energy from within. Instead, they thrive on the energy of the group, making any Sunshine quite reliant on others. When they're feeling bored, they act like the class clown, laughing loudly, clapping, and filling the room with their lively spirit. But for many Sunshines, this isn't a natural extroversion. It's more of a way to survive. Once the spotlight is on, their energy spikes. But when it fades, they feel a sudden drop. And let's be honest, nobody cheers someone for feeling worn out. Lastly, and this is super important, their neuroticism is often high but hidden. Despite how they seem, the Sunshine is usually the most anxious one in the group. Their smile then becomes a way to protect themselves. This is what we call smiling depression. They smile not because everything is fine, but to dodge facing their fears. The Sunshine acts like a sponge, soaking up everything around them: stress, the feelings of others, and the hopes of their fans, while staying quiet so everyone else can feel at ease. The fancy term for this is emotional labor. But the truth can be summed up more harshly. They give so much of themselves just to keep everything running smoothly. But there's a flip side to this dynamic. The Sunshine persona can be the trickiest to embody. When you try to be someone you're not, it can be really hard to figure out who you actually are. Sadly, it's true that 2 idols who were given the Sunshine card ended their own lives. The shadowy side of Sunshine is all about toxic positivity. By always wanting everything to be just right, they end up ignoring pain, including their own. Over time, they can feel completely drained, even reaching the point of burnout, as they carry the feelings of others on their backs. For someone who's naturally like this, it's a tough load to carry. So imagine how it feels for someone who isn't born this way but has to wear the same mask for years, even when it feels like it's itching their own skin. The sunshine never uses their body to take charge. Instead, they use it to create a friendly vibe. Their center of gravity is high. They stand a bit on the balls of their feet, always ready to jump into action, but never really planted. Their shoulders are tucked in and don't often open up boldly. When they talk, their torso leans toward others. They bend a little, as if to close any gap. Plus, their body stays compact. Arms close to the chest, legs usually together. They intentionally make themselves smaller. So even if they are tall, they don't take up much space. The unspoken message is clear. I'm not a threat. When they sit, their legs stay close or crossed, hands resting on their thighs or clasped, and their body subtly turns toward the most tense person in the group. They're always keeping an eye on the room. Then, when silence falls, the sunshine member jumps into action. Where stillness might make things awkward, they step in. We see quick, often silly but loud clapping, little jumps, swaying, or other repetitive movements. They gently tap others on the shoulder or arm, grab sleeves, wrists, or clothing. But these gestures aren't just nervous habits. They actually help boost the group's energy. So movement becomes a tool. It stops discomfort from settling in. In this way, the sunshine member is also the most physically affectionate. But this contact is never romantic. It's purely functional. They might put an arm around someone's shoulders, rest their head against another member, hold a hand for a moment, give sudden hugs, often from behind, or lean against someone during chats. Behind these gestures is a threefold purpose. First, to feel the muscle tension of others. Second, to reassure everyone about being together. And finally, to warm up someone who seems a bit distant. In this way, the sunshine acts like a body thermometer. Their face also becomes a tool for constant communication. They can't stay neutral. A smile pops up right away, sometimes a bit too fast. Their eyes smile big. Their eyebrows often stay raised, and their mouth wide opens into an O shape when reacting. They nod a lot while others talk, make a little micro-pout when teased, and blink quickly when things get stressful. In practice, the sunshine never keeps a neutral face for long, as neutrality feels like a threat. Plus, their clothing style has a clear goal: to downplay any sense of power. That's why they often wear oversized clothes, long sweaters, sleeves that hide their hands, and outfits that soften their shape. The structure is simple, and the size looks a bit blurred, so even a muscular body appears softer. Similarly, they prefer colors like yellow, apricot, soft orange, pastels like pale pink, sky blue, or lavender, along with white cream and light beige. They steer clear of strong black and bold red, which are colors linked to drama or aggression. This is definitely dopamine dressing, as the brain connects these colors with safety. Earrings are small, round, and shiny. Necklaces are delicate with simple pendants, and big statement rings are rare. This idea also applies to their choice of jewelry and accessories. Heavy chains or symbols of power are always avoided. For accessories, you'll find berets, beanies, soft caps, round glasses, pins, plush toys, or tiny bags. In short, everything gives off a vibe of approachability, kindness, and youth. Verbally, the sunshine doesn't just talk to share information. It's all about managing how everyone feels together. It loves to use words that make you think of happiness, energy, smiles, unity, and love, along with comforting phrases like, "Don't worry, it'll be all right," or "I am your hope," or "I am your joy." For instance, it might say things like, "I hope you had a great day. Don't be sad. I'm here to give you energy. As long as you're okay, I'm happy. We can smile together." Or "Eat well, sleep well." These words have a special effect. They shift the emotional weight onto the idol. The hidden message becomes, if you're feeling down, I need to smile even more. And laughter? That's the sunshine's secret weapon. This laughter isn't just for fun, it has a purpose. It laughs loudly and for a long time, even when there's nothing funny happening. It uses laughter to cover up an awkward moment or to help out another member. In practice, laughter acts like a bandage, a curtain, and a shield. Plus, exaggerated laughter is super important too. Big smiles and silly falls aren't just for entertainment. They're there because silence can be scary. In silence, the truth can come out. So he talks, he laughs, and he fills the space, always. Sunshine doesn't really shine, he burns slowly. His body speaks before his mouth does, his style comforts before his talent shows, and his smile always comes before his tiredness. When faced with danger, there are 4 main ways people react: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. The fight response is all about attacking. According to Walter Cannon, the sympathetic nervous system fills the body with adrenaline, making a person see danger as something they can face, even beat. In other words, conflict becomes a way to take back control. In the K-pop world, this reaction is shown by Scandal Magnet or Rebel. When faced with media pressure or a tricky question, he's expected to take on an aggressive, sarcastic, or provocative attitude. By seeking out conflict, he turns the threat into a way to gain power. On the other hand, the flight response is all about getting away. It happens when the threat feels too big to confront. In this situation, staying safe relies on putting some space between you and the danger. In K-pop, you can see this interesting trend with idols who slowly fade away, steer clear of cameras, or often stand behind their fellow members during interviews. In this case, being a bit shy turns into a way to stay safe. The freeze response was later looked into more closely by Jeffrey Gray in the late 1980s and then woven into Stephen Porges' Polyvagal theory. This reaction is like a kind of simulated death. The nervous system gets overloaded, leading to dissociation. The body is there, but the mind has checked out. In the world of idols, this means having a blank look, a frozen smile, not blinking, or not being able to respond when someone talks to them directly. They might be there in person, but their feelings are somewhere else. This is what we call the visual type. We'll chat about the psychological type a bit later. Lastly, we have the fawn response, which is the most socially intricate and the least familiar to most people. This idea was brought to life by Pete Walker, a therapist who focuses on complex post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, especially in his important book, Complex PTSD, From Surviving to Thriving, released in 2013. Walker recognized fawning as a unique response to trauma. He describes fawning as a way to survive where a person looks for safety by blending in with what others need, expect, and want. It's not about protecting oneself or running away anymore. It's about trying to please others before any conflict arises. As Walker explains, the person behaves as if they think that to have any relationship, they must completely give up their own needs, boundaries, and sense of self. In Sunshine's situation, this reaction makes sense because of the very strict environment he's in. Pushing back could be risky, as it might lead to penalties or getting fired. Running away isn't an option because of contracts and too much attention from the media. Freezing isn't allowed either, since he has to keep performing all the time. So he's left with just one choice, to be exactly what everyone around him wants. Smiling, helpful, adorable, and harmless. So the Sunshine unknowingly takes Fawn as their main way to protect themselves from danger. This way of coping is closely tied to a habit of trying too hard to please others. As Walker points out, this reaction can often result in codependency. The Sunshine has lost touch with their own identity, relying on how others see them. In the media world, this role is always checking the feelings of the leader, members, or fans to adjust even before any problems come up. And that's the problem, upper fandom. In K-pop, the Sunshine type is an act. They have to play as if fawning was their main way to protect themselves from danger, and that's the point. The other three reactions aren't allowed to him since it would break the image of the perfect character. If a conflict is recorded, they have to act like they've been told to. Meanwhile, in real life, they would never react this way. While the scandal magnet is busy causing a stir, the Sunshine brings calm. It needs to be helpful, amusing, and cheerful for the fighting to come to an end. In simpler terms, it gives itself up before any punches are thrown. Sunshine never goes solo. A team made up only of Sunshine or just a scandal magnet would be a total mess, a real disaster. Every type of personality, without a doubt, works together. They all fit in nicely. One of the most exciting combinations in real life, and in the stories of the K-pop world, is the pairing of Sunshine and Scandal Magnet, the nurse and the patient, or grumpy ex-Sunshine. Their relationship is like a yin and yang dance. The Scandal Magnet is like a tempting poison, while Sunshine is the comforting antidote. Without Sunshine, the Scandal Magnet goes wild. On the flip side, without the Scandal Magnet, Sunshine fades away. This is the most beloved story pattern in fan fiction and fan creativity. The Scandal Magnet, grumpy, turns away from the world. He's cynical, dark, and chilly. Sunshine is the only one brave enough to get close to him, touch him, and make him smile. Why is this so captivating? Fans think if Sunshine, who is pure, loves Scandal Magnet, who is toxic, then Scandal Magnet can't be all that bad. Sunshine acts as a moral guide for Scandal Magnet. In a group, it's super important to keep the energy level steady. If the Scandal Magnet pulls everyone down with their heavy vibes, seriousness, or drama, the whole group might just fall apart. The Sunshine needs to step in and lift everyone up with their fun and laughter, matching that weight. The sad part of the situation is that the more trouble the Scandal Magnet stirs up, the more effort the Sunshine has to put in to keep smiling and cleaning up the mood. Often, it's the Scandal Magnet who, whether on purpose or not, makes the Sunshine feel worn out. In this back and forth, the Sunshine takes on the role of a cleaner. A cheeky comment sparks laughter right away. A chilly moment gets warmed up with a well-timed hug. The unspoken message to everyone is clear. See, they're really nice. And just like that, the social conclusion is made. The Sunshine is a helper. They make the messiness okay. Without realizing it, they let the Scandal Magnet keep doing their thing because they're always tidying up after them. In real life, the Sunshine figure thinks they only fit in when they're always smiling, even through tears and losses. The idol who takes on this role carries this smile all the time, even after long sleepless nights, which can lead to deep feelings of disconnection. As time goes on, the face hides what the heart tries to keep secret. This can result in feeling lost inside and a lasting emotional distance. Along with this, there's the issue of toxic positivity. Sunshine feels like it can't be unwell. It's the heart of the group, and hearts aren't meant to break, but when things start to fall apart, it catches everyone off guard. Suicides and unexpected illnesses can hit the mood makers hard, just like those two well-known idols who sadly took their own lives. To make things more exciting, the most well-known Sunshines often have a secret, dangerous talent. The aim is to show that a Sunshine can be more than just adorable. Otherwise, it gets dull. It needs to have a gap. There's not just the nervous Sunshine we talked about before. There's also the killer Sunshine, the one who always has a smile, but when they hit the stage, they turn into the fiercest dancer or the most intense rapper. The way the industry works is that a smile helps to catch the audience off guard, making the technical performance hit even harder. It's a clever little trick for surprising the mind. Now, the main question of this episode: what are the effects of Sunshine on people's minds and actions? People who are attracted to Sunshine aren't just daydreaming. They often feel anxious, down, or worn out. They're not looking for romantic or physical attraction. They're looking for a break. In this way, the parasocial relationship becomes a source of emotional comfort. But the danger becomes clear really fast. The fan needs Sunshine to be all right, even when that's not the case anymore. Because if he falls, who will be left standing? For people who experience high levels of neuroticism, spending time in the Sunshine can bring about a short-lived drop in anxiety. The warmth of a smile, along with a steady and gentle approach, creates a soothing feeling and quick emotional relief. But this sense of calm isn't very stable or long-lasting. On the behavioral side, this delicate calming effect can lead to a strong urge to seek out content, often resulting in frequent checking of the news. This is made even more intense by a deep fear of fading away, feeling burnt out, or changing who they are, along with a strong sense of emotional duty towards their idol. Over time, these mechanisms create a strong emotional reliance, leading to worries about being apart, and during tough times like scandals or changes in ideas, a real emotional breakdown. Thoughts start to spiral, and Sunshine ends up being a crucial emotional support. In people who score high agreeableness, the relationship becomes super empathetic. You can see a deep connection, a strong wish to protect, and a unique emotional bond. This shows up in how they act, like going overboard to defend their idol from any criticism, making excuses for any bad behavior, and even giving up their own time, money, and energy for them. In the end, these dynamics result in feeling emotionally drained, carrying a constant sense of guilt, and getting mixed up between genuine support and a sense of duty. The fan doesn't just enjoy the content anymore. They feel a strong urge to care for, protect, and fix things. For those who aren't super outgoing or just a little bit, Sunshine provides a feeling of belonging without needing to dive into social situations. Parasocial relationships step in as a great alternative, letting people connect without the worries that come with face-to-face interactions. Behaviorally, this encourages a liking for mediated interactions and a slow decrease in real-life relationships, which seem more unpredictable. The attachment to the Sunshine routine grows stronger. The biggest risk is slowly pulling away from social interactions and finding it hard to share the emotional safety we've built with real two-way relationships. For those who are really open-minded, the Sunshine turns into a special canvas for their thoughts. In their minds, this shows up as giving deep meanings, creating personal stories, and seeing the idol as a shining example of goodness. Behaviorally, this tendency results in reading too much into gestures, getting caught up in obsessive analysis, and creating myths around the character. When things get a bit shaky, especially if there's a scandal or something surprising that goes against the perfect picture we had, it can really hit hard. This kind of disillusionment can stick around, making us feel cynical, and causing the special meaning we gave to the relationship to crumble. Finally, for those with low or average conscientiousness, Sunshine acts as a helpful guide for organizing emotions. The routines offered by the content give a boost of motivation and a bit of outside structure. Behaviorally, time revolves around outings, live streams, and appearances, while emotional regulation increasingly relies on the signals from the idol. The biggest risk is finding it harder to manage oneself and feeling less motivated once someone steps away from the world of fandom. Intermittent reinforcement is super important when it comes to fan addiction. Since the Sunshine isn't always around, the brain gets excited, waiting for the next appearance, smile, or interaction, which lights up those happy circuits. Plus, this relationship feels safe without any real risks. There's no actual rejection, no direct conflict, and no personal doubts. It's a one-sided and steady connection, making it way more appealing to the brain than those unpredictable human relationships. On top of that, a funny twist happens with responsibility. When the Sunshine says things like, "I'm okay if you're okay," or "your happiness matters to me," the fan starts to feel that if they step back, it would hurt the idol. This feeling of guilt makes the bond even stronger. Lastly, the blurring of relationship boundaries really highlights this whole thing. The Sunshine doesn't show anger, rejection, or clear distance, which stops the fan's brain from picking up on normal relationship signals. What does this actually mean? In general, an independent adult is expected to handle their own feelings and stress, which is called self-regulation. But when it comes to a fan who loves Sunshine, this self-regulation starts to shift to relying on outside help. Basically, Sunshine acts like an emotional support system. When a fan feels anxious, angry, or sad, instead of working through those feelings, they quickly turn to Sunshine's content, like funny videos, adorable live streams, or sweet moments, to help them feel better. By depending on the idol for managing their stress, both the fan and the fandom slowly lose the ability to find calm without Sunshine. The fan then slips back into a more childlike state, similar to a kid who needs a parent to tell them that everything is okay. It's like a muscle that isn't used anymore. The muscle of resilience eventually weakens. Plus, Sunshine gets its fans used to a kind of constant emotional cleanliness. Sunshine never argues, never criticizes, and always stays positive. Over time, the fan starts to see this as the normal way to interact in their everyday life. So when a real conflict pops up, like a music review, a rumor, or a different opinion on social media, it feels less like a normal disagreement and more like a huge attack. This leads to a big problem. The fandom becomes overly sensitive. A simple sarcastic comment from someone who isn't a fan feels like a major offense because their tolerance for negativity has been raised too high. With constant exposure to Sunshine's kindness and other roles like the moral guide or the visionary, this can be linked to William Swan's idea of identity fusion. The fan starts to blur the lines between their own identity and that of the idol. So, since Sunshine has become the fan's main or even only way to manage their emotions, any criticism aimed at them feels like a direct hit on the fan's own peace of mind. The threat isn't physical, but the brain reacts just the same, releasing cortisol and adrenaline. This is where we see the surprising aggression of soft stans. These fans who seem gentle and kind can turn very aggressive online. They aren't just protecting a singer, they're defending their emotional support. Criticizing or attacking Sunshine feels like taking away their inner calm, which sparks a defensive reaction that can come off as aggressive. It quickly becomes obvious that in the world of fandom, everything is split into two sides. On one side, fans of Sunshine are seen as good, while on the other, those who have something negative to say are not just criticized but are called evil, toxic, or hateful. All the in-between shades vanish. This mindset shuts down meaningful discussions and keeps the fandom in a bubble where only positive comments are allowed. In this environment, vigilante cyberbullying can burn, justified by the idea of protecting goodness and kindness. Sunshine can make a person feel good for a little while, but it can also make the whole group weaker over time. It doesn't help people grow into strong adults. Instead, it creates a community stuck in a glass bubble, relying on a comforting filter to handle what's real. And just like that, glass bubbles are bound to pop eventually. And that was our third profile, upper fandom. Up next, we're talking about the visual, the ice nobody wants to melt. Here's the thing. Upper fandom, all those configurations aren't random at all. There's a deep psychological work behind it. On Idol Decks, I'm doing my best to explain to you how the obsession system works, and why K-pop feels different. Remember, my friends, even if the names changes or the aesthetics shift around, the machine underneath never does. And that's a wrap on Idol Decks, folks.